Hello, I'm not sure if many people are here yet. I know it's a little bit of a strange day for me to be doing a broadcast. It's a Monday, so I'm sure a lot of people might have other things going on. But to anybody who is here yet, hello. We'll wait a couple minutes, see if anybody else trickles in, and let me know if you can hear me okay and if everything looks good on your end. If you're in a position to talk, that is, just in case I know people might be listening from like commutes home from work or anything like that. So if you can answer me. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that you're sick at home, but maybe I can keep you company while you're sick. I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. Other than being sick, I hope you've been doing well. I know it's been a little while since I had a chance to come in and do a live, so I hope you've been well since then. I think it's been like a month. I also don't know. Hopefully, the rain has stopped. It was raining pretty hard here earlier. I don't know if it'll start up again, but you might be able to hear it because I sit kind of near a window. So if at any point it starts raining or thundering, I apologize for the background noise, but it is Florida, so hello, Born Cute. Nice to see you. When will I upload new long form videos? I am in the process of actually working on 3 different videos for, they were supposed to be for BTS getting out of the military. Obviously, I'm quite late on that, but I think they're interesting topics. So I'm really excited to get those to you guys. And I have a couple of like okay, I have a lot of ideas. So I have the ideas that I already had, plus I'm getting a couple new ones. The new ones probably won't be until probably the new year, just because I work in retail. So Christmas is probably going to get a little crazy for me. So my goal is, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when I get to my housekeeping slide, but my goal is to definitely have the 3 videos that I'm doing for BTS's military release to be up within the next few months. And then I will probably just kind of take a little bit of a break. I still would like to do live streams during like November, December, but then I'll probably hit the ground running again in January. So that's definitely my goal. So don't worry, new videos are definitely coming. Javine, yes, I'm very excited. One of the things we're definitely going to talk about today is I want to hear about everybody's concert experiences with Jin's concerts in Europe, whether you got to see them in person or saw the Amsterdam concert in the theater. So we're definitely going to talk about that. I'm so excited to hear everybody's concert stories. Hi, Don't Feed the Bears. It's good to see you. So those videos about BTS getting out of the military, those are actually going to be I did my videos for Jin and for J-Hope already, and they were more just topics that I really wanted to focus on, because I do tend to keep my channel and my videos a little bit more like group song focused, a little bit more OT7 focused. They're usually, the group songs, like the title tracks of albums or their whole album concepts or their themes. So I tend to not dive too deeply into like any individual member's solo work. So I'm taking the post-military videos as an opportunity to kind of break my own rules a little bit and then like focus on a specific member's solo work. So the reason why there's going to be 3 of them, actually, here, let's hop over to the housekeeping screen. So I'll show you. So I have what I'm currently working on is those 3 videos. So the reason why there's 3 is I'm going to do Namjoon as a video, Yoongi as a video, and then I'm going to do Taehyung, Jimin, and Jungkook as a combination. I'm going to have that video be like the BTS Machines. And my video for Namjoon is going to be about his 2018 mixtape, Mono. Mono is very deeply important to me on a personal level. So I'm looking forward to talking about that and kind of celebrating that just from my own perspective. The one for Yoongi is going to be, I'm calling it like the evolution of August D, because not only does that mean music, but it means the character of August D from his music videos. So I'm really looking forward to talking about that. And then for our Machines, I'm going to be talking about basically all of their solo songs that they did as members of BTS and how those evolved and how those kind of showed the evolution of their personalities and their musical growth and things like that. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to doing that with you guys. So I'm excited to get those videos up and running for you. Javine said, "Don't even get you started on the different concerts." I would love to get you started on the concerts. So I would love to hear everybody's thoughts about those. So we'll definitely today, as with a lot of my live streams, today is going to just be a fun, casual chat. So, I don't really have too much planned. So I have a couple topics that I think it would be fun to discuss with everybody, but I definitely kind of want to keep it more focused on if you guys have anything to say or if you guys have any ideas. So definitely, if you have stuff you want to share, please feel free. I know you're also sick at home, so I know that's not necessarily the best time to want to be, typing a whole bunch, but if you feel up to it, absolutely share your stories. So just a quick go over the housekeeping on my end, and then we can get to chatting. You guys might have seen this on my my community section of my channel. I did have some issues with the Dionysus video again. The Dionysus video has been notoriously difficult to upload because of different copyright issues and sound issues on my end. And it did about a month ago get copyright struck again. Due to use of very specific clips from a specific broadcasting company. And I tried to say, no, I'm using these in like a transformative way. I'm not using the sound. I'm talking over them. I tried all of that. And they said no. So the Dionysus video is back now. I had to go in and basically blur those clips out. So if you ever watch that video again, you'll see that some of those clips go blurry. It's just to keep it from being copyright struck again. So that was my way to solve the Dionysus issue. Hopefully that is the last issue we have with the Dionysus video and that it's good to go now. Then, like I said, I'm currently working on those videos. My next live stream, I'm not sure when that will be because, of course, I'm always at kind of the whims of my work schedule. So I'll see when I next hopefully have a Sunday off because I think Sundays are a little bit better than Mondays. But thank you for being here on a Monday. And then one thing I do know, I don't know on the date yet, but I would definitely in October love to do a live stream for the anniversary of Wings. I'm a huge fan of the Wings album, and I think it would be a lot of fun to talk about it, kind of the way I talked about Map of the Soul 7 and the way I talked about Most Beautiful Moment in Life previously. So I would like to do a broadcast very similar to that for Wings for its anniversary in October. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. I'd love to do another casual live stream in between then and now, but we'll just see how kind of the dates and everything shake out. So I agree, Born Cute. Very cute how Tae included Yeontan, and I just think that will like add a specialness moving forward to that album, that it's like Yeontan is always present in that album. I think that's really, really warm and special. And as a pet owner who has lost pets, previously, I know how special that will probably be to him moving forward. So I'm really glad that that is a thing. I love that. And it's nice, yeah, like you said, it's really interesting to have the different sounds of BTS's solo work because there are so many different sounds and so many different styles. So whatever type of music you like, you can find an album or a song that they've done either as BTS or in their solo work that will appeal to your musical style. I mean, Jin even did country rock with Rope It. So it's like there's like every genre you can imagine. And to anybody who maybe just came in or wasn't here when I said this earlier, how have you all been? I know it's been a little while since I've been able to come on here and do a live stream, so I hope you all have been well. I hope everything has been going well for you so far. And like I said, I don't have too much planned today, so there won't really be a lot of slides or anything. Just kind of the usual, little background that I use when we chit chat about BTS things. So nothing too fancy today. But I would love to hear everybody's thoughts about some different topics and just kind of do our fun, casual chatting. It's a rainy Monday here in Florida, so it seems like a really nice opportunity to just have a nice, cozy little conversation with everybody. So, oh, don't feed the bears. I'm sorry you've been having a rough time. I hope things get better. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. That means a lot to me. And hopefully today and chatting about some BTS stuff, hopefully it can put a smile on your face. And as I said earlier, one of the things we can discuss is going to be first up, kind of on my agenda, is going to be talking about Jin's concert. So if anybody got to see those in theater or see them in person, like Javine, hopefully we can share some fun memories. What time is it here? So here in Florida right now, it is 12 noon. So it's like 12:11 p.m. 9:40 at your place. Wow, thank you for being here in the evening. I hope it's a good way to wind down your day. If you don't mind me asking, where are you watching from? I always like to know where people are watching and listening from. It's really fun to see where everybody's from because we're so spread out. We're such a diverse community. It's really fun. India. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for coming to the live stream today. It doesn't actually look like you can hear too much of the rain stopped here, but now it's just dripping off of our roofs and stuff. So you can hear some dripping here, but I don't think you can pick it up. It looks like my audio isn't picking it up, so that's good. 6 p.m. and where Javine is. So we're all spread over, spread all over the place with our times. But thank you especially for those of you where it's a little bit late or maybe it's like dinner time. I always appreciate you guys being here with me. Since it's usually when I do these live streams, it's usually like noon is when I try and shoot for my time. So it's kind of early in the day for me, but I appreciate you all being here with me after you've had a long day. We've gotten a ton of BTS updates lately, so I thought that was a good opportunity. That's part of why I'm here today, because like I said, usually I try and do Sundays, and I've just been working a lot of Sundays lately, but I really wanted to do a live stream now rather than wait for like my next Sunday off is in like 2 weeks. And I didn't want to wait that long. I wanted to have a fun chat with you guys now, not only because it's been a while, but because I thought there's been a lot of relevant stuff going on within the past couple of weeks that I thought would be nice to talk about now rather than waiting. We've had the end of Jin's concerts, finishing up with his concerts in Europe, and then we've had a ton of updates from BTS themselves in LA. We had the very brief but very fun OT7 Beach Live. We've had Namjoon's letter. So we've had a lot of BTS related things. And I've been talking to people both in the community section of my channel and on Twitter or X about different theories and things that people have been noticing from BTS's updates, from things they've done, photo shoots, things like that. So I thought we had a lot of fun stuff to discuss today, and a lot of things that are very topical right now. So I didn't want to wait until, sometime in September. I wanted to just have a fun chat with you guys now. So If you're new to my streams, we keep it kind of casual here. It's usually, I don't usually go in with much of a plan unless I have like a theme that I'm discussing, like, like Map of the Soul 7 when I did that live or anything like that. Usually we keep it pretty light here, so. From Kenya. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. I always love seeing where ARMY is located because it's so cool to see people from all over the world who love BTS, and we all have different backgrounds and different things that we bring to the fandom. But, we all love BTS and love their music and their message. And I think it's really cool to see how far apart we are, but how easily we can come together. It's really cool. Javine, that is a beautiful way to describe it. The sense of knowing them personally, like they were my neighbors. That's definitely how I've felt as well. As those of you who are regulars on my channel know, that I saw the boys in PTDLA, and that I just saw Jin in Dallas. And that is the feeling that I got both at the BTS concert and at Jin's concert. Is you do legitimately feel like you are seeing old friends, and it's really, really cool. It's a really special feeling. Because I remember when PTDLA was my first concert, because I became ARMY like right before the pandemic. So you became ARMY since the pandemic. I became like right before. I was gonna go see Map of the Soul in concert, and obviously that didn't happen. So PTDLA was my first one. And when you're there, or I should say, at least this was my experience, it was the feeling of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm at a BTS concert, but also like, of course I'm at a BTS concert. Where else in the world would I be? It makes total sense that I'm here. So, you feel like you belong, and it's like, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. It's a really fun sensation. Yeah, exactly. It's like the same things that you've seen when you watch their performances, or like at Jin's concert, if you watch Run Jin and then you watch the Run Jin tour, it's like, it's feels so genuine, it's the same. ARMY in 2018, that's awesome. I'm always so jealous. I think we all have that feeling of like, we wish we'd been ARMY sooner. So I became ARMY right before Map of the Soul 7 came out, and I wish I'd become ARMY sooner. Yeah, we discussed this. We've discussed this in a few live streams, actually, for all of the ARMY who haven't had a chance to go to a concert yet, whether because of location or like when you became an ARMY, especially for those ARMYs who did become ARMY either recently or during the pandemic. It's definitely been hard to try and get to concerts, but here's hoping that we see a BTS world tour maybe in 2026 or 2027, and that everybody who never got a chance to go, I hope it's finally everybody's time. I think we're all manifesting that everybody who has never been finally gets their chance to go, because it really is amazing. It's totally worth it. Both the concert, the PTDLA concert, and Jin's concert have been the best experiences of my life, so highly recommend. And then I don't know if anybody got a chance to see Jin's concert in theaters. I didn't get a chance to because the concert stream was actually my birthday, and I had plans out of town. So unfortunately, just some very bad timing. Otherwise, I would have really loved to go see it in theaters as well, just to see what that experience was like. I've seen other BTS content in theaters. When they released the Busan, Yet to Come in Busan concert in theaters, I saw that. And I saw some of their old like documentary movies and things like that. So I've been to BTS related movies, but unfortunately didn't get a chance to see Jin's concert in theaters. Yeah, I still know what you mean, Javine. It would. I wish the same thing. Like if I had become, because BTS for me was a big self-love thing, and they really helped me kind of cultivate self-love that I'd been lacking, and I kind of didn't realize how much I was lacking until I kind of started, listening to them and getting their message and like thinking more and reflecting more on myself. And I really do think if I had had that, even just a year or two sooner, it would have been very nice, and I would have had even more opportunity to reflect on that. So, oh no, yeah. College student, that is very tough. That is very tough. I would love if they would do more. I hope they do, because they've kind of asked about it in surveys in the past. If they do more like broadcasting, like simultaneous live broadcasting of concerts, just because I think that's a really nice way to still experience a concert without being there. And it's like, I'd love to see more theater releases. I'd love to see more of them doing live streams on Weverse of the concerts, because it just makes them so much more accessible. Yeah, I totally get that. Don't feed the bears. It's interesting because I'm not really like a concert person. I've said this in like previous live streams that I wasn't really like a huge music person even until I found BTS. Like, if I liked a band or a song or anything like that, it was very casual, so I was never like going to concerts. So BTS was like one of my first major concerts. And then recently, about a month ago, I did a non BTS concert, and the concert itself was very good, and was like, I'm so glad that I went. It was, amazing to see that concert, but the experience of the actual concert itself and the process was not at all pleasant. And it was very different from my experience seeing BTS and seeing Jin. So it is kind of, regular concerts are definitely not something that I would do on the regular. It does hit different when it's ARMY, but at the same time, holy heck, it is a lot of people, and it's a lot of like logistics to get in and out of places. And so it is totally valid to be like, yeah, no, that's not it. Enthused Beast, yeah, that would actually be amazing. It would be really nice to, rather than have to be locked into like the theater experience, it would be really cool to be able, and I mean, unfortunately, I know because a lot of the content is paid for, like, when you watch a concert, you do have to pay for like an air quote ticket, so Hybe and Big Hit tend to keep that a little bit locked down. Like, you're not allowed to do sharing, and they, get strict about that and stuff. But it's just like, I do kind of wish they made it even a little bit more accessible, because you have the ability to buy it on Weverse, you have the ability to see it in the movie theater, but those are usually a little bit pricey, especially when you buy the live streams on Weverse. And it's sad because you only really get to see it either the one time, or maybe if they do live and then they do delayed streaming, maybe twice. And so it's sad that there's not a way that we have a little bit more ability to share and rewatch and kind of have those things, because they're cherished memories, and I wish we had a little bit more access to them. I totally get, got to make the money, but I do wish that we had a little bit more ability to share them and keep them. And no worries at all. I know it's a little bit of a weird day and time for me to be streaming, so I totally know that people are doing stuff in the background. That is no problem. Yeah, Javine, you're totally right. It was a really fun experience, and I talked about this in my last live stream about my concert experience going to see Jin in Dallas. My mom and I, so I went with my mom because my mom's my fellow ARMY in my life. So we went together, and I don't know how it was in other locations for Jin's concert, but the location that Jin was at in Dallas, we went to Dallas because we had other plans, so we couldn't get to Tampa, unfortunately. So we went to Dallas instead. And the venue for Dallas was located right across. I wanted to try and get as close of a hotel as possible, and I managed to get the hotel right across the street from the venue. And so it was so nice and convenient to get there, and it was such a lively atmosphere because there was ARMY everywhere. And so it was incredibly pleasant in a way that I don't think a lot of other concerts necessarily would be. So that's something that's really fun about going to a BTS members concert or a BTS concert, is you're definitely, you almost are in a different community. You're with people who really get it and understand it. And so in that sense, it really feels like like a big group field trip almost. Like you all took a field trip to go see BTS, and that's a lot of fun. Hi, AK. It's good to see you even briefly. I hope you enjoy the replay. And as always, leave any thoughts you might have in the comments when you do watch it. I hope you enjoy it later. Yeah, Javine, you're so right. It's I think my mom described it perfectly when we were at the venue for Jin's concert and just people were like walking up and down and giving out freebies. She said it feels like trick or treat. Like I don't know if that's a thing that people have in other countries, but here in America, when you're a kid on Halloween, you go around and you get candy, and it's just like there's no real equivalent to that once you're an adult, but when you're at a BTS concert and you're there and people are suddenly coming up and handing you freebies, you feel like you're trick-or-treating again. And it's like that is such a perfect description of just the fun and the wonder of just somebody coming up and being like, here, I made this, or here, I put these photo cards together, and giving you like my freebies at the Jin concert. It was photo cards, it was candy, it was like little trinkets people had made, it was like beaded bracelets, keychains, it was everything you can imagine. And it was so special to know that people had put those together just because they wanted to hand them out to ARMY. It was so special. Yes, you are right, Enthused Beast. ARMY does always find a way, and I'm very grateful for that. I like that ARMY finds a way and, wants to share with as many people as possible. I think that's something that's really sweet about ARMY is they're like, they don't want to keep the content hidden. They want to share it. I think that's really awesome. Don't be the bears. Yeah, I imagine it kind of differs from country to country of just like how people feel about, either like, because I know we were talking in my last live stream about how like different people in different movie theaters act and like how different fans in different contexts act. So it's like I definitely think it's like your mileage may vary depending on if your fans are like maybe a little bit shy or a little bit more reserved. Maybe they don't want to kind of like be loud or be. It's interesting though, because for me in my life, I'm an introvert, and I tend to be kind of quiet and shy in social situations like that. But I've definitely tapped into a different part of myself when I've been at BTS concerts, because suddenly I am kind of able to find my voice and talk to random strangers and like, when I sat down for the concert in Dallas, like literally the girl who was sitting next to me just struck up a conversation with me, and we literally just started talking, and it's just like I never do that in my day-to-day life. In my day-to-day life, that would make me such a flustered mess. But when it's ARMY, it's just a lot easier to just start talking. Javine, that's nice though. It's nice to be able to be part of the atmosphere even before the concert. And that's something that I really loved about being in a hotel right across the street from the venue, is we could just go throughout the day and kind of just see what was going on. And it was really cool because other ARMY were there milling around. They were at the concert venue in Dallas. There was a photo op outside, and then there was a screen, almost like a billboard for lack of a better word, that just sort of advertised the things that were going on at the American Airlines Center. And so occasionally it would shift back to the picture for the Run Jin tour, and it would, be like Run Jin tonight, so like that was very cool. People were getting really excited whenever that came on. So it was like a lot of fun that people would be, and it was only on for a couple of seconds. So people would be standing there waiting for it. And then everybody would cheer and they'd take pictures, and so it's like, and that was going on at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon when the concert doors didn't open until 6:30, so it's like people were already there and checking things out, getting merchandise, so it's like, it's very fun to be part of the lively atmosphere around the venue. That was, that's always really cool. And I think the most important question that I have for anybody who either got a chance to see Jin's concert in theaters or see it live in person is I hope you guys had a really fun time. That was something that just struck me when I got to see Jin, was just how much fun I had at his concert, and it was just such a magical experience. My concert was about a month ago, so the phrase that I've been continually using since getting home was just like that Jin was effervescent, just like such a bright, shining light, and just, made me so happy to watch him. And, whether it was his fun songs like Rope It and Loser, or like his more meaningful ones like The Astronaut, or, Background, or I Will Come to You, or Epiphany, there was just so many emotions, and I just felt so good for the entire concert. It was so uplifting. So I hope that anybody who got to see him either here in the live chat, or if you're watching this later and you want to comment in the regular comments, I hope you guys just had like the most wonderful time. Yeah, I think he worked so darn hard. And there were definitely times where he seemed really, really tired, especially because he had such a short turnaround between a lot of his stops, So it's like, I imagine he was starting to get a little bit travel weary and a little bit jet lagged. Like his stops in the US were so close together, and I just admire him so much for the energy that he still poured into every concert, even though he must have been like so exhausted. Like, I know day one of Dallas, he did his Weverse live after his first concert, and he looked like he was gonna fall asleep sitting up. And then he came out the second night, because I was there both nights. He came out the second night and just had so much energy and so much, power on stage, and his voice is amazing. And it's just like, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how any of them do it. Like, I know they've been, a band for years and years and years. They've had practice, but it's just like their stamina and their dedication, and their willingness to go that extra mile never ceases to amaze me. And that was definitely present for Jin's tour as well. It was just amazing. I can't even believe how well he did despite being exhausted. Yeah, I love that description. It was beautiful. Like you said, that just that connection, that feeling of connection. And when you read, I don't know if you guys have looked at like articles or anything that have come up after the tour, like, every different stop along the way would like write an article about Jin. And there were so many beautiful articles where that's what the writer would say. They would talk about how much he was connecting with people, and how unique and different that felt, and how it was like a refreshing change to the concert formula, the usual formula of concerts, that this one was just all about connection and togetherness. I think the one article, I don't remember what media outlet wrote it, but it was after his London concerts, and I'm paraphrasing, but the headline was something like, Jin's concert is a night of love, longing, and light. And I just thought that was such a beautiful description of just the brightness and the effervescence of Jin, but also just like the sweet, down to earth energy that he has, and the love for Army, and the connection with Army, and just all of that is so beautiful and meaningful. And I think that's probably the thing that I'll cherish the most over the years as I think back on my concert experience. Yeah. Yeah, and I know he was probably trying to, obviously he had to be at the whim of what venues were available when, and I know it was very important to him to go to places that J-Hope hadn't been able to go to. So he was a little bit limited in his scheduling, but yeah, I think he was definitely feeling the transition, then only having like a few days in between a lot of his locations. Oh, Carmen, that's amazing. I was at Dallas Night too as well. I'm so glad to hear that it just was uplifting and made you feel happy. I'm sure Jin would be so happy to hear that. And it's so true. It really was Like it was one of those things where after the concert was over, you're like, man, my cheeks hurt because I've been smiling so much. Like, and I just think that's such a special, magical thing. Yeah, you're so right, Enthused Beast. I felt that way at PTDLA, which is funny because it's actually something that Namjoon said in his live during one of the PTDLA concerts about how he can tell that the audience gets tired, and he's like, I feel that, I get tired too. But when you are like standing for like the whole concert and jumping and doing all that stuff, you are like, wow, this is incredibly tiring. And I'm down here in the audience. I can't even imagine what they feel on the stage doing dancing, or in Jin's case, running around. Like, Jin was always running around and jumping up on those little platforms and, shaking army bombs and stuff too. Like, I've been rewatching some of the videos that I took at the concert to get them all labeled and get them all in like folders for safekeeping and stuff. And, I have some of the memories kind of fresh in my mind. And he just like ran around during Nothing Without Your Love like crazy. And he ran around during Super Tuna like crazy, and it's just like, I can't even imagine just, and especially because Dallas was kind of in the middle of the tour. So it's like he probably was already starting to feel it, and he still just had so much energy to run around and be, be so much fun and be so energetic. Enthused Beast, yes, that I'm so proud of them. And I know J-Hope was sick during, I think it was it his concert in Mexico City, and like had spiked a fever and still went out and did the concert. And it's just like their work ethic is unbelievable. Like I would never have that type of work ethic, like, and I just never would. I would be like, no, I'm sick, I can't do it. But the fact that they go out even when they're tired or in pain, and we've seen this in like previous, like documentary series with BTS of how often, even if they are sick or injured and they're told you can't go out there and perform, they're upset about it. They're like, no, I want to go out, and it's they've been injured and have tried to go out to perform, and it's amazing. It really is. But I am so thrilled. I'm so happy to hear your guys' concert experiences. I've been really, really excited to talk to you all about that, and just hear what you guys all experienced there. And like I said, anybody else who is watching this later, or if you think of anything else you want to say, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments of the playback when the playback goes up on my channel. Because I just love hearing all your stories and all your experiences. It makes me so happy. So, and we like I said, it's a casual live stream, so we can jump back and forth between topics like we often do. But I do know that we also have some people who have been talking to me lately, have been talking to me about theories. So I'm sure we also want to dive into some theories for upcoming BTS work, and probably talk about BTS's updates as well. So if there's anything that you all have been thinking about over the past couple weeks, or anything that you wanted to discuss, anything you want to ask me, we can absolutely do it here. We keep it for anybody who's a little bit new to the live stream, we keep it very light here. We keep it very casual. So that is okay, Javine. I totally understand that. Super Tuna for me is just, I love, it's very important to me that it's silly, if that makes any sense. I love that it's just silly and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and like it's just fun. And I love, me, I love The Astronaut, and I love Epiphany, and I love Moon, and like I love Background, and just like some of those like really deep, meaningful songs that Jin has are so important to me. But every now and then, I need that Super Tuna energy. Yeah, don't feed the bears. I know what you mean, and it's funny because Jin released that for his birthday in 2021. So I had like just come home from seeing them in LA. So I was like still kind of on the concert high of PTDLA, and woke up that morning and I was like, oh, Jin released a thing for his birthday. And I started playing it, and I'm like, is this a song about fish? What is happening right now? And so it's just, and as I said, I think we mentioned this in my previous live stream. It cracks me up that around the time that he released Super Tuna, he had also released his OST for the K-drama Jira-san. And that song is called Yours, and it's very like emotional and deep, and his voice is so emotive. And then like a few days later, Super Tuna came out, and it just reminds me of, if you guys have ever seen the film It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and the scene where Snoopy is like dancing and then crying as the song shifts that's being played on the piano. That's me with Jin's music, and it's like 1 minute you're dancing to Super Tuna and the next minute you're crying to Yours, and that is my life with Jin. Jin always manages to release like the song that is making me bawl and the song that is making me dance within like a couple days of each other. Or if like on the same album, if you're like with Echo, I even made this joke when Echo came out that you go from Rope It to background within like a couple of minutes. Like, so I'm going from dancing and cheering to crying my eyes out. Yes, you're so right. Don't feed the bears. The level of self-deprecation. And, I love that, like Jin has kind of been like, oh, I'm so embarrassed by Super Tuna. Like, he kind of plays that up. But at the same time, I think he also loves having the excuse to just be silly. And I love that. The ability to be silly is so important to me. Hi, Bomac. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I'm sorry that you're trying to listen to me on 1.5 speed when you eventually get to this part of the live, because I already talk really fast. So listening to me on 1.5 speed must be a bit of a trial. But thank you so much. And don't feed the bears. I love the description of that. That is so accurate. I definitely... Moon, because I became ARMY right before Map of the Soul 7. Moon hit me very hard, and then going back and listening to Epiphany, and Epiphany is so beautiful and meaningful. And I'm a big fan of the eternally underrepresented song Awake. Awake is very important to me personally, but all of Jin's songs, pretty much like 99% of Jin's songs, hit me on like that emotional level. Hi, Hitchhiker Hobbit. It's good to see you. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Yes, my birthday was on August 9th, which is why I couldn't see Jin's concert in the theaters in Amsterdam, because I was out of town for my birthday, so some bad timing. But thank you very much. I appreciate it. Candy. Oh, yes, that's so nice. Yeah, it's always really nice when the members go to an area that they haven't been in a really long time, and how special that is. So I'm really glad that happened. And you're right. I love that they were able to, like Jin going back to Europe, for instance. I don't think Europe had a BTS concert since 2018, 2019. So it's really exciting. And it gives me hope for the future of future tours. I'm crossing all my fingers and toes about, maybe a little bit more spread of concerts in future. So that would be amazing. Hitchhiker Hobbit, you listen to me at 2 times speed. Oh my gosh, that is a feat, because like I said, I already talk fast, so I'm impressed. I'm so glad you enjoyed the London show, Hitchhiker Hobbit. That is great. I've been hearing everybody's stories. I've been so excited to hear everybody's stories. But yes, I'm very glad I got to see him in person. So I didn't feel as bad that I couldn't see him in the theater, because if I hadn't been able to see him in person and hadn't been able to see him in the theater, I would have been crushed. But I feel very blessed that I got to see him in person. So thank you, Javine. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I had a lovely birthday. And I agree, don't feed the bears. Awake is amazing. Awake needs more love. And if I do end up getting to do that live stream that I really want to do in October for Wings, I will be talking about how amazing Awake is. You can count on that. I mean, let's face it, pretty much all of their solo songs on Wings are fantastic and need more love, but I love Awake so much. And Jin doesn't even remember Awake, as he proved in that one episode of Run Jin, where he was like, I don't even know what this song is. Is this Awake? I'm just like, Jin, why? Why do you hurt my feelings like this? Oh, good. Welcome to the actual live portion of the stream, Bomac. I'm glad you're able to catch up. Yes, OT7 in they definitely need to go back to Europe. Um, I know that a lot of people were very sad when the Auguste tour kind of I think they kind of skipped over Europe for the Auguste tour. So I you guys definitely need some more love, and also further because like we were talking earlier about like they've never been to India and things like that. So I love that's a great idea, Hitchhiker Hobbit. I love that. You're like, hey, it's gonna happen. I'm putting it out into the universe. It's gonna happen. I'll make my freebies now. I love that energy. Yep, Javine, me too. I have a savings account that it's literally my savings account is called 2026 comeback question mark. Because it's just like I'm putting money in there. Whatever happens, I want to be ready. Yes, definitely. So much. See, I with a BTS concert because there's so much dancing. I know that it's not as sustainable for like a huge period of time, but I think of like when I said I went to another concert last month, the concert that I went to was actually Coldplay, and it was an amazing show. But obviously, Coldplay doesn't really dance. They just sing and play music. So they have been on tour for such a long time, and it's like I'd love to see BTS be able to do like a long form tour, but I don't think they'd be able to sustain it for very long if they choose to do their choreography. So, but like it would be amazing if they could have a little bit more of a lengthy tour, and have it spread out a little bit more. And it'd be really interesting, I being a person who loves Wings, I tend to go back and look at stuff from the Wings era a lot, and they went to a lot of places during the Wings concert series that they haven't really been back to in a long time. So it's like it'd be almost be interesting to see some of those stops from Wings come back. Right, Hitchhiker Hobbit. Yeah, Coldplay was probably like my most mainstream band that I liked and enjoyed before I found BTS, and I was always a fan of their music for years. Never saw them rehearsing or anything, but was just a big fan of listening to their songs. And so when my universe was announced, and I'm like, wait a minute, so we have BTS and we have Coldplay. This is perfect. This was tailor made for me. I remember you saying that you had wanted to do some of those freebies, Javine. I even if you only had a few, I'm sure people appreciated it. It's just such a fun experience to get the freebies. I've never made freebies. It's one of those things where like it didn't occur to me to do, and I'm like, why didn't I even think of doing that? That's just like I just was like so focused on my own preparation. I'm like, I didn't even think about freebies. What's wrong with me? But receiving the freebies is always so lovely. And I imagine making them is a really fun experience too. I think maybe that's something I'll want to try before whatever my next concert is, whenever that happens. Like we said, we're all manifesting, but I think it would be really fun to try and make some freebies. Yeah, Love Yourself, Speak Yourself is one of my favorites. I have I think it's on Memories of 2019, the Memories of 2019 discs. They have the Love Yourself, Speak Yourself kickoff in Rose Bowl in California. And that's one of my go to concerts. I watch that one all the time. Hitchhiker Hobbit, I apologize if you told me this in the last live stream. What freebie did you make for Jin? Yeah, I get that. It's hard when and I've thought that a lot with different things that people handed out at Jin's concerts of just like these must have taken a lot of time and resources, and I'm just like I'm always so impressed when people do that. It's really special. Candy, yeah. Tickets in 2026. I think a lot of people are already basically like, okay, y'all, it's gonna be the Hunger Games. But hopefully, if there are a lot more stops, like because the Run Jin tour didn't have that many stops, for instance, so it was like obviously it was a little bit more, do or die to get tickets for something with only a handful of stops. Maybe if there are a lot of stops on a BTS tour, that'll help. I don't know. Optimistic thinking. Oh, Bomac, that's lovely. That's awesome. Yeah, that was something that when I went to PTDLA, I only went the first day because I didn't have as much money saved up back then. So I just to be budget friendly, I only went the one day. And I immediately regretted it. I was like, dang, I wish I had done this for longer. And so that's why I definitely wanted to do both days in Dallas. And I mean, honestly, the issue with a BTS concert is no amount of time feels like enough. Like, even if you go multiple days, it still doesn't feel like enough time. Oh, that's really awesome, Hitchhiker Hobbit. That's so special. I love that. Oh, that's so cute, Pandora Gold. I love that. That is so sweet. I'm sure it meant so much to the people who, even for those of you who only did like a few freebies, I'm sure it still meant so much for the people who got them. I still have all of my freebies for the Jin concert in like a little bag because I want to do something with them. I want to put them in a frame or something because they're all so special to me. Like every single one that I got was so precious. Oh, I love that. Javine, that is such a sweet idea. That is fantastic. Oh my gosh, I love the you all are so creative. It makes me so happy. Like I just love the creative energy and just Army's passion just makes me so happy. Just all the things that people put together and just the love and dedication, you know. It's the getting those freebies makes you feel so special. It really does. And also, I just realized I've been talking for a while and didn't get to ask those of you who kind of came in a little bit later. How have you all been? It's been a couple of weeks since I've gotten a chance to talk to you. I hope you all have been doing well. Oh, that's so sweet, Hitchhiker Hobbit. I love that. That is so special. I still have one of the freebies I got from PTDLA was somebody made like a beaded bracelet that just says BTS Hearts Army and like I still wear it, you know. I still, you know, if I'm going to like a BTS related thing, I always put it on. Don't feed the bears. That is such a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, they just that's something that I've found amazing. It's something that I talked about a little bit in my Pied Piper video of just like how BTS inspires people to want to do better and like be their best selves and I think that is so cool and so special. I hope they know how much that happens in their name, you know, and I know that's probably can be a little bit scary to think that you are just a normal person and you're inspiring this in others, but I hope it makes them feel special too. Good. I'm so glad you guys are doing well. That is great to hear. Yeah, there was I got a lot too. That seemed to be very like a very popular freebie because it's just it's cute and it's fun. Um I got do I still have my photos of all of my freebies from I remember I took a big picture so I could put it in when I did my live stream last week. Let me see. Do I still have those pictures? Yes, I do. So I got a lot of people made stickers, a lot of people made photo cards. A lot of people made so there were these pins that people made. They were almost like it was fun because they were magnetic, so they could either be like you know like magnets you put on your fridge, or if you put like you know a magnetic thing behind it, you could wear it as a pin. There were like a couple people did photo strips, so almost like you would get in a photo booth, but they did them with Jin, of course. And some people just handed out candy. Like one of the candies that I got was I think almost like a Spanish or a Mexican candy that was really good, you know. So it was also really fun too because then people were able to give out things you know that were special to them culturally, which is just really cool. Hitchhiker Hobbit. Believe it or not, I have actually considered that. I wasn't sure if that was something everybody would be interested in. A Discord server. Sorry, I just realized I was responding to the comment without actually saying what it said. Would I be interested in making a Discord server? I did think about it. I tried to make a Discord server once before for like, and I admit it was for a very niche topic, and so it didn't go anywhere. And I just ended up like deleting the server because I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I was like, am I supposed to be more active in it as the person who made it, or just like what? So, um, I yes, I do think we have an amazing community. I love our community here, and it would be a lot of fun to create a place where we could like be a little bit more open about sharing stuff. You guys could like share pictures, and we could do things like that. So that is something that I've considered. If that's something people were interested in, I'll definitely consider doing it. I do already have Discord, you know, and it's like I've been using Discord for a long time, so it is a platform that I know pretty well. Even if I don't quite know the ins and outs of running a server, I do know how to use it. So definitely something to consider. That is, it's very sweet that like I actually love it. Believe it or not, I know I'm right there with you. I would feel shy asking about that too, but I love when you guys have suggestions or questions for me, or like requests like that. So never hesitate to ask, because it's always, believe me, I always consider it. And you know, even if it's something that doesn't end up actually happening, it just makes me so happy that you guys suggest those things. So never hesitate. That's true, Enthuse Beast. Yeah, you know, and they, I love their charitable work, you know, that they do certain charitable things, and then it kind of inspires Army to do certain charitable things. I just think of them, I saw a, you know, like you see those unpopular K-pop opinions sometimes, and I saw somebody the one time, and I don't know if they were just a hater or what, but they were like, "Oh, I think that BTS's activism is just performative. It's just fake." And I'm just like, that's because I would consider them more advocates, you know? They advocate for the things that matter to them, and they advocate for people to be kinder and to be more helpful to each other, you know? And it's so sincere that then Army is drawn to that, you know, good people are drawn to them and they want to do good things. And it's just like, to me, it's just being advocates, you know, then, and I think that's so important. And I hope that they're proud of us when we do the same thing. Hitchhiker Hobbit, I'm right there with you. I'm not very social media heavy. Just, you know, I never really got into a lot of social media when it was like in its heyday. You know, and then just after a while, I just didn't want to be on there. You know, for my own mental health, I tend to like pull back a lot from social media. So yeah, Discord is kind of one of my only ones too. Don't feed the bears. That is so valid, honestly. And I always love that you're here on the live stream. So that is totally understandable. Yeah, I will definitely consider that. It's so funny. I had been writing down a list of ideas, of just like things to do, because I don't want to expand the channel too much too fast, because obviously it takes me a long time to even just make videos. So I didn't want to like expand too quickly and bite off more than I can chew. But Discord server was actually one of those things that I wrote down. So. Mm-mm. And I like that. I like that it's like for a lot of people, the charitableness is part of what drew them to BTS. I think that's really special. Oh, Javine, that's awesome. That is so fun. That's really exciting too, to be able to do like in-person meetups and stuff. I've never really done that. I've made like Army friends that then I've seen in person, or like the concerts, you know, seeing people in the concerts. That's kind of like my big experience with like actually meeting Army in person, but I haven't ever really done that otherwise. That is, I just, yeah, I love, BTS is really honestly built different. And, you know, it's interesting, because like I said earlier, we've had a lot of updates from the guys while they've been in LA. And of course, we had that long form letter from Namjoon, wherein he's kind of talking about like what what are our colors to each individual person, and what color will we be moving forward, and what does BTS mean, and what has it meant in the past. And for me, like, that's such a huge part of it, is just like the genuine goodness, you know, the genuine kindness. And I just feel like that's, in this day and age especially, I feel like a lot of us are very starved for that. And it's just, it's, you know, we had mentioned Anpan Man earlier, and it's just like, that's something that I've always loved about BTS. It's like, hey, you don't think you guys are superheroes, but you're trying so hard to help other people, and that is a superpower. Hitchhiker Hobbit, yeah, I totally know what you mean. I've had that experience in a lot of different fandoms because I'm a big nerd, and I feel like a lot of times I go into a fandom and I'm like, okay, clearly I do not belong in this area of the fandom. Clearly this is not made for me. I shouldn't be here. And I've had that experience a lot over the years. So it makes me very happy to think that, because a couple live streams ago I said I've always pictured the idea of, like, quote, the Army Theorist Corner as like we're all in a very cozy library, or we're all like, we have a cozy little table in a cafe and this is our corner to theorize about BTS, you know. And so I've always imagined that I wanted this channel to be very cozy, and I think that that's what it's become, and that makes me very happy. So I definitely, after you have that experience, Javine, I definitely want to hear about how it goes, because that is so exciting. I love that. Oh, don't feed the bears. Yeah, that's really, yeah, I feel that. I feel that too. So I'm glad. And that's what I want and hope for and I think it's been pretty successful, and I'm that means so much to me, to have a community that is like that, because I don't know what I would do otherwise. So I'm very grateful, for, and like, that's always how I sell my live streams to people. I'm like, come hang out with us. We are an amazing community. We are so much fun. And I love that we all can theorize. I've had a lot of people say to me, like, I can't really do this with other people or even other fandom groups. I can't give my theories. I can't talk about these things, you know, with like a theoretical mind, like, ooh, let's analyze stuff, you know. And that's my favorite thing. I love analyzing BTS's music and their music videos and themes, and it's just like, that makes me so happy. So I'm really glad that, you know, a lot of other people, that it makes them happy as well. Oh, Javine, that's really sweet. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to have those bonds. Yeah, I know what you mean, Hitchhiker Hobbit. Yeah, I totally get that. I know that's been a thing, for a while too, with like YouTube comment sections and things like that, and people can get very one track minded, and you lose some of the subtlety and the nuance and the beauty. I'm all, like you said, I am all for joking, but like sometimes we do lose the nuance, and the specialness, you know. And so it's like, I always like to try and bring it back to that place of, you know, I'm sure I sound like a broken record in some of my videos and some of my live streams, because I tend to focus on the same themes and ideas about BTS over and over and over again. But I do really think that it's important, especially, you know, because it's something that the boys themselves think about a lot. Like, what are we, you know, what are we doing? What is BTS? And I like talking about those things. And I just like, you know, putting out my opinions, hearing other people's opinions, of just like, let's get a little deeper. Yeah, that's I think that, Javine, that's a really good way to describe it. You know, it's nice to be like enthusiastic about something in a way that is kind of like Hitchhiker Hobbit said earlier, that's not like, ooh, okay, that's a little, you know, just in a way that's genuine. And, you know, enthusiasm, I think, is just such a good word. Um, or like I talked about a little bit in the Dionysus video, where, you know, Namjoon talked about the feeling of deadly madness, you know, and like that he prefers that rather than like a placid concert. He would want it to be full of like that passion and energy. And I think that's exciting, you know. It's just, there's too much of a notion in society that, like, if you are enthusiastic about something, that's weird. And I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand why society is so determined to tamp down enthusiasm, because being enthusiastic about something like BTS, or, you know, the things that BTS do and their messages, that's beautiful. Yeah, I totally agree, Hitchhiker Hobbit. It's funny. Like I said, I'm a big nerd. I have a lot of fandoms and media that I'm in. I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm a big Star Trek fan. Always have been. And the more recent series that's running, right now is called Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and I'm a big fan of it. And there was an episode recently where they were talking. I won't bore you all with the details, but they were basically talking about like a piece of media in the show. And it was kind of almost like they were indirectly talking about Star Trek itself. And the one character says to another character, "Have you ever loved something so much that it heals you?" And I just thought that was a beautiful way of describing, not just in this case, Star Trek, but it made me think about BTS, of course. And just because that's very much how I feel about BTS and their music. Just, have you ever loved something so much that it heals you? And it creates opportunities for growth and to do things in the world that make the world a better place and to connect with people. And I just think that's fantastic. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Bomac. That means a lot to me. I'm in my day-to-day life, I'm not always the most positive person. I can be a little bit intense sometimes when, cuz I have a lot of opinions about things. But here in this community, I love being able to focus on the positivity and the good stuff and you know, try and be uplifting cuz that's what I would want if I was going somewhere else, I think unfortunately, like we were saying earlier with fandoms, with, whether it's certain elements of ARMY or other fandoms, it's very easy to feel pushed out and excluded. And I've definitely felt that a lot in my fandom life. And it's the reason why I'm actually not very active in a lot of other fandoms of things that I care about. Because just the fandoms become unwelcoming places. And so it's like, so I do my best to try and cultivate a positive and fun environment for people, and where we can express how enthusiastic we are for BTS. Don't feed the bears. Yeah, you're so right. And again, like that is just so weird to me that it's just like enthusiasm and passion that is only allowed between this bracket of life, and it's just like that doesn't make any sense. And it's something that I love about ARMY is just I love seeing the diversity in age, gender, lifestyle, just anything about your life. I love seeing how different people get to be enthusiastic about BTS because we should all have things that we're enthusiastic about. It makes life better. Also, I apologize if you shouldn't be hearing any background noise, but I think they're either making a delivery next door or they're picking up like the garbage cans for the day. So there's kind of some truck noise, but hopefully you don't hear it. But anyway, also I apologize for going off on a little bit of a rambly tangent, but had a lot of thoughts I wanted to convey there. It's been too long since we got a chance to chat, so I'm like, have all the thoughts. Okay, good. I'm glad that background noise isn't being picked up by the microphone. That is so cute, Javine. I love that so much. I'm glad you think so, Hitchhiker Hobbit. That tends to be how I talk, just in general. It's how I talk to my coworkers. It's how I talk to my mom. It's how I talk to my friends. Like, and that's always I tend to find people who also get kind of rambly, and then we ramble together. So it's a lot of fun. And don't feed the bears. I think what you are discussing and what you're going through, my mom experiences a lot as well. And it's very sad. It's always a bummer to me that people can't just be, can't be like, oh, that's cool that you like this music. It's sad. It's very sad to me. Hello everybody who just joined. If I didn't get a chance to say hi to you before, it's good to see you. Javine, I love that. That is such a beautiful way of of putting that, you know, and I like thinking about concerts like that, you know, that it's just like I did that for myself because, you know, it was important to me that I go and be a part of that, and I made the choice to do it, and I think that is such a powerful thing. I love that. So while we're on the subject of just kind of like talking about, you know, being here and looking at stuff for that's related to BTS and being enthusiastic, just to jump back up to my housekeeping slide because it's where the picture is. I'm sure a lot of you saw my community post that I did about this. This was literally just a 7-minute live, but it meant the world to me to see them together like this. Of course, we had that other OT7 live that they did before, but I don't know, something about this one on the beach just made me so happy in a way that honestly defied description. You know, it was just so lovely to see them all together and having fun in a way that just, I don't know, that just made me feel all the warm and fuzzy feels and just makes me happy to be in ARMY. It makes me happy to be here, you know? And I agree. I agree with the chat in my live chat right now. Love yourself is the most important thing. I agree, Candy. Right? It was such a special live. I agree. It was, you know, only 7.5 minutes long and very glitchy because they didn't have good cell service, but it was beautiful. And I've found it interesting. I kind of just assumed that this was my theorist brain going into overdrive, but I even said to my mom, I was like, that's really giving me most beautiful moment in life vibes. And then I saw a lot of other people say the same thing too, that it was making them think about most beautiful moment in life. Because I mean, so much of it made me think specifically of the scene. I think it's in the HYH on stage like prequel video thing where they are driving on the beach, and that's immediately what it made me think. Hitchhiker Hobbit, yeah, you're so right. I think that's part of what made it just so warm and like just made me feel so happy. Is it felt like I'm not looking at a famous band right now. I'm not looking at celebrities right now. I'm looking at my boys BTS. I'm looking at them having fun and enjoying each other's company and just having a fun day at the beach waiting to watch the sunset, you know? It was so happy. It made me so happy. That is, oh my gosh, Pandora Gold, that is so cool. That is fantastic. That must have been surreal to be like, wait, I know exactly where that is. That must have been wild. Yeah, me too, Bomac. I just seeing them laugh and smile is just like there's just something about that. It's just like, I feel so good. Javine, yeah, I Hi Boy is a great channel. I've watched a couple of his things. Like I just watched him describe a little bit of Namjoon's letter. I really appreciate when he can explain things language wise and culturally. It's a lot of fun to be able to hear him do those breakdowns. And it made me laugh that his video was so long and the live was like 7 minutes long, and his video is like, what? His video was like almost an hour. I was just like, that makes me so happy that a 7 minute live can just produce so much. Yeah, High Boy's recaps are amazing. I've really enjoyed his stuff. He really is able to, especially because like it's taken so long for Weaver's lives to get good subtitles. So it's really nice to be able to watch him immediately translate it out of Korean and talk about all of, like you said, the subtlety and the nuance. Love his stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to pop up to where that picture was because that picture makes me so happy. And I know a lot of people have been talking about theories that they've been having of other BTS interactions. I like I was saying earlier, since I'm kind of not on social media super much, there's definitely some things that I've missed, like other updates that they've made on like Instagram or things like that. I just haven't seen as much, but I know apparently there is a lot of stuff buried within interviews and pictures and things that people are going, oh, that seems like it's a clue or it's a throwback reference. So we're living in very interesting times right now. Don't feed the bears. Yeah, you are so right. I am honestly impressed by that self-control as well. And it was a little bit interesting because at one point when they swung the camera around, it looked like they had some staff there. So I don't know if they had like people there who were doing bodyguarding work or if they were just out with their staff. I'm not sure because it's like they did seem like they had kind of been left alone on that beach. So it's like I don't know if that was some good security or if they were just kind of keeping a low profile or what. But I think it's a really great thing that they were able to just kind of freely enjoy the beach, it seems. Yeah, Bomac, that's exactly what I've been thinking too. I had actually even just been kind of thinking about that just like a couple days before they did that live stream of just like, we never got anything for HYYH. And I remember saying back at the time that I did my live stream for the anniversary of HYYH Part 1 is I was like, well, maybe we'll get something for Part 2. You know, the anniversary of Part 2 is later this year, so maybe we'll still get something. I'd love it if we got, you know, something related to Most Beautiful Moment in Life, so keeping my fingers crossed. Yeah, and I know that they were pretty adamant that that was going to be happening, so maybe we're, because a lot of other people got those vibes too of just like, hey, this looks like the second coming of HYYH. Yeah, I don't see, and I've always wondered what that project was even going to be. Like, was it going to be something related to the BTS universe? Was it going to be a song? What was it going to be? We never even knew. So, I would love it if they were doing something with HYH. That'd be very exciting. Hello, Metaloop. It's good to see you. Yeah, we've been having some kind of fun discussions. Just me getting off on rambly tangents. You haven't missed too much yet of like any like type of deep theorizing. Mostly just us talking about some stuff and having fun. But I'm glad you're here. I hope you have been doing well as well. We have only just kind of, to catch Metaloop up on what you've missed, we've only kind of just now started talking about like them, like their most recent live that they did on the beach and like how that's kind of given people some Most Beautiful Moment in Life vibes. So I definitely felt that when I saw it, and I saw a lot of other armies online kind of saying the same thing, that they were, you know, thinking this really reminds me of Most Beautiful Moment in Life. So I think that would be really, really awesome if there was something going on with HYYH for us to enjoy. Yeah, me too. It's like I know that was said, and if I remember correctly, it was said that they would have done that like no matter what, even if they were at a different company, you know, or anything like that. You know, if even if a circumstance was different, they would want to do this thing for Most Beautiful Moment in Life's anniversary. So maybe since they didn't do anything for the anniversary of Part 1, they'll do it for the anniversary of Part 2. So, which is I believe in November, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, end of November. November 30th, 2015 is when Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 2 came out, so it's possible. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, because they were also mentioning it when Yoongi and June did the drinking show, I think. So it's like that's definitely been on their mind. So maybe we'll get lucky and there will be something related to HYYH, and that's why we got a beach live. Ooh, that could be too, Hitchhiker Hobbit. They could even maybe do it on the anniversary of when Epilogue Young Forever came out, which was May 2nd, 2016. So it's like that's possible too. That would be interesting as well because that year, obviously much later in the year, is also the 10th anniversary of Wings. So that could be interesting too. Thank you for being here, Hinata. I wish this program that I use would let me translate messages the way I can in YouTube. Will YouTube let me do it? Is this a thing? No, that is so rude. I wish I could translate messages on here. Because I can, when people comment on my videos, I can translate them, but I guess I can't translate on them translate them on the live. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so we can still have a little bit of hope. It was part 2 was released kind of late in the year, so that would be nice. It would be like an early holiday gift, an early end of the year gift if we got a little something. Yeah, you could be right. Don't feed the bears. And especially, I mean, they just said we're working on a project, so it's just like, what could the project be? I mean, I don't know if it's a continuation, like I said earlier, continuation of the BU storyline, or just something to reference HYYH. I mean, I would take anything. I would love it. Yes, Hitchhiker Hobbit, the movie weeks. I almost forgot about that. I don't know if I had checked the other day. I don't know if they've released the like the schedule here in my neck of the woods. I know that they've announced the movies, but I don't know if they've announced like what movie, what day yet. I don't think so. I was just curious, so I just popped on to check. I don't think they have the actual days yet, just like the range. I know it's September 24th through October 5th is when they're actually going to be showing them, but I don't know what movie's happening on what day, because I want to know if I can do it on any of my days off from work. Yeah, the honestly, some of the concert viewing on Weavers can be very tricky, and like sometimes I even struggle, like something that works really well and is really easy to find on the Weavers app, but then when I try and do it like on the desktop, I can't find it. So it's like sometimes Weavers is a bit of a chore to navigate. Metaloop, yeah, I think you're right. There has been a lot of different hints to different things. And it's funny, obviously, at the beginning of the live stream, we were talking about Jin's concerts, and I was just saying that I recently rewatched some of my concert footage to get it organized on my computer. And I believe it was was it during I think it was during Nothing Without Your Love in Jin's concert. He has a screen behind him that had a ton of BTS references on it. Like he had the school bus that was used in both No More Dream and in No More Dream and in Yet to Come. He had the little swing type looking thing from Spring Day. There were a couple other references that I was trying to see from, my vantage point when I was taking the footage, but it was like there was a lot of BTS references, even just in something as simple as the screen behind Jin. And then they've been doing all sorts of photo shoots and interviews and pictures and things that have also had BTS references. So it's very interesting to see all those little Easter eggs, so to speak. Oh, okay. Tickets are on sale for those movies on Wednesday. I wonder if that's going to be true worldwide, because I'm just very curious what days, what movies are happening. Because I mean, you know me, I'm a Wings girl, so it's like I'd love to see the Wings concert on the big screen, and I'd also love to see the Suzu Muster on the big screen, because that's something that we've never seen released, so that would be very cool. And I just, again, I mean, as a channel dedicated to like theorizing about stuff and looking at older music videos and pieces of media, I love the idea of showing some of the older concerts again. Just because I think it is so valuable to be able to see the other concerts and do, I always like to call it do the work to work backwards, of just like to actually go and see some of the stuff from previous eras and get enmeshed in those songs from previous albums. I just being able to do that, I think, is so valuable. So I love that we can do that in concert form. Looks like it's raining again. Oh, more rain. It's been like raining nonstop here in Florida. It's like every single day it's been raining twice, so more rain. Oh gosh, 9 a.m. my time. That's not so fun. Metaloop, yes, I finally caught up on the BT21 videos for the that were just recently released, like over the past few months. Those were really, really interesting. I really loved the messages that were contained for each individual character, and they so perfectly reflected each member of BTS. Like, so I definitely think that there was like a lot of references and, you know, just very BTS ideas, you know, just like very specific BTS focused ideas. And like there were a lot of fun Easter eggs throughout. I feel like there's always been a lot of fun Easter eggs in the BT21 videos of just like little ways that they reference BTS music videos and things like that. So fun. It can be a lot. I know that for BT21, I know they started putting some things together in compilations. So, like, because they would do like different air quotes seasons of content, you know, like tell like little stories of the characters. And some of the earlier videos I know they kind of put together in a compilation, which is nice. And then the most recent ones that they did, they have together in a playlist, and that's nice because they're all of those videos are like 3 to 5 minutes long, so it's really easy to just kind of watch the whole little series, you know. So that was nice. Oh, Bomac, that is so sweet. I actually didn't even hear about that one. I love that. That the put pink stickers on the flashlights so you could shine pink lights during Epiphany. That is so sweet. I love that. The little things that are done for him at different and for any BTS member when they go on concert. Those are like so special. Um, the one in Dallas was they made hearts, like paper hearts, to hold up during Don't Say You Love Me. So when he started singing that, just like all these hearts went up, and he commented on it at the end of the concert. He's like, I saw you guys all had hearts. Like, you know, it's just really, really cute stuff like that. I always love that. And Army always works so hard, not only to make sure that those projects, like that they have the ideas for those projects, but that then those ideas are actually executed, and then that the supplies are there, and they, you know, make the supplies and hand them out to Army. And it's just like Army works so hard. And it's just, I wish that and I know the boys can see a lot of these, but even like some of the smaller projects or even ideas that maybe don't get traction, it's like I would love for them to know how many ideas that Army has and how hard Army works for them. Like it's so sweet, and just the amount of thought that and effort and time that Army puts into just make sure that the boys have like a happy concert memory is so special. Yeah, Hitchhiker Hobbit, that is so true. It's like a lot of times the, you know, the only way we do have the ability to, you know, depending on the venue or like what location they're at, what they're doing, sometimes cheering really loudly for them is the only way that we have to communicate that. But when we do have the ability to show it in these other ways, I love that that's what happens, and I think it's really special. And you know, I think it does show the boys that it's, you know, it's not just we're here screaming and we're just here for that. It's like we also are here to make an effort and to show you how much of an effort we want to make for you guys. And I just, that's really special. And I think that's affected and influenced them a lot over the years. It's just they see that and they acknowledge that, and it's very special to have that acknowledged. But yeah, Don't Feed the Bears, you're so right. They see that sincerity. Hi, T Style. It's good to see you. Yeah, I agree. A lot of the messages that they had in those videos, like they really just hit me like, oh, that's so sweet. You know, just A lot of it was like, don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Don't be afraid to embrace, like, even if even your bad memories will help you grow, and like keep trying and don't give up. And it's just like very, very sweet messages. Yeah, Hitchhiker Hobbit, I so know what you mean. I absolutely know what you mean. It's very, and I do want to do some videos about this at some point, um and just kind of talk about the specialness of BTS and ARMY's relationship. And I know I'm more of like a theorist channel, and it's like my kind of my topics of choice are always a little bit more like themes and messages and things like that. But I do think even just theorizing about ARMY itself and BTS themselves is valuable. So it's like I definitely like to do something like that in future. Ooh, that's very true, Metaloop. I think that would be really interesting. I love Dionysus. I love the things that they did with the Dionysus concept. And I would love to see more of that. And dive even deeper into that. I think that would be really, really cool. Dionysus, I think, as I said in my Dionysus video, that's a video that, or I'm sorry, that's a song that gets a lot of, critics and things will just be like, oh yeah, it's just like a party song. And it's just like, there's so much depth to Dionysus, and there's a lot of depth to references that BTS has made to Greek mythology in general. At some point down the line, I would really love to dive into all of the references they make to Icarus, because there's a ton of references to Icarus in Wings, of course. And I think that would be really cool. I'd love to dive into that too. So Javine, yeah, you haven't missed too much. We ended up talking a little bit about the BT21 videos that were released recently, and how a lot of them kind of feel like they have some BTS callbacks and references, and just like some really great messages involved. And we were just also talking a little bit about like ARMY. I like how Bomac just put it. ARMY makes the effort because BTS makes the effort. So we are just talking about like some of the things that ARMY does for BTS and how that makes ARMY really special. So just kind of went off on like a very fun, warm tangent about ARMY. Yeah, Hitchhiker Hobbit. I love that video from Boris City Magazine. She really gets, like, a lot of her videos just get to the core of that so well. And we were talking earlier about how people dismiss like fandom passion and stuff, and I know she has a really good video about that, of just like the double standard regarding that, and like that's an amazing video. I love that video so much. I actually referenced that video, like used that video for research when I was doing my Pied Piper video, because she so perfectly describes how people tend to look down on like fangirl tendencies, and they think fangirl tendencies are just crazy and wild, and just like how wrong that is and how much it doesn't apply to BTS and ARMY. So that's an amazing video. Right, Hitchhiker Hobbit, just all of the little things that go into the videos, and just I know some of that is the boys themselves. I know some of that is the director of the videos, and the people who do storyboarding and stuff. I know it's a collaborative effort, but it's just like there's just some genius level stuff in those videos, and just they're so packed, and so just everywhere you look, there's something to pull from. I love it so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so right, Hitchhiker Hobbit. I think, and she does, she does like that side by side breakdown of just like how something that happens in the sports fandom is considered like socially acceptable, and then like the identical thing will happen in like the music fandom or like a K-pop fandom, and it's just like it's the same thing, but one is celebrated and one is looked down on. It's very interesting. And we were also talking, I don't know if anybody missed this part, we were talking a little bit about the most beautiful moment in life, and how we're still hoping to see a project related to that, and how maybe BTS is even giving us some hints or some most beautiful moment in life type vibes. So we were also having that discussion at one point, if anybody missed that. Hitchhiker Hobbit, yeah, I think I know what you mean there. This is a good question, Metaloop. Have any of us been like kind of like mocked or looked at weird because we dive deeper into their stuff? Um, yes and no. I've definitely experienced just being mocked for liking BTS, and then I'll always say to people, it's not what you think. It's so much deeper than that. And people will kind of look at you like, yeah, sure it is. And you're just like, you don't even understand. You don't even understand the depth of what's going on. And I have a coworker who is kind of always like playfully teases me about BTS, but is like genuinely interested as well and will ask me questions. And the other day they asked me, like, if you could talk to BTS, what would you ask them about? And so like I kind of went down a rabbit hole and was talking about some of that, and I was saying, like, I ended up talking a little bit about like my feelings on some of the like the things that have happened over the past few years and how people have misinterpreted BTS because of certain things. And so it's like, you know, I kind of went down on a rabbit hole like that because a lot of people don't realize how much depth there is behind BTS and how much people have willfully ignored it. And so I'm always talking about that with people in real life. I'm like, you actually don't know this, this, and this, but I could tell you, like, Hitchhiker Hobbit, I feel that so strongly, a millennial in a Gen Z world. I so know what you mean. I so know what you mean. And I was actually a couple of my coworkers are Gen Z, and I was just having a conversation with one of them where I said, things move so fast that it's like when you're a millennial and you're not necessarily in some of these spaces, you feel like you get left behind really fast. You're like, wow, I don't even understand what they're talking about now. And I know it's like we are like right around their age too, but I see this really actually makes me enthusiastic about the idea of making like a fun army theorist Discord space. Like I literally, it's so funny, I literally have this on a list of topics and I wrote it down. It was like the top thing on my list, and then I put a line through it because I'm like, nobody would want that. I wouldn't be able to do that. And so I actually like struck it out, but now I think I'll unstrike it out and think about making that. So yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind because you're right, we do need a space like that. Honestly, Hitchhiker Hobbit, yeah, I think you and I really would get each other. I think we would understand each other so well. Yeah, Enthused Beast. There's a lot of stuff. And like, I am not at all ashamed to admit that even there's some stuff that I have not even had a chance to unpack yet. Like, you know, so, and like, I'm somebody who loves to go back and unpack stuff. And even I haven't had the chance to do everything and see everything. So, no shame whatsoever. And it is, yeah. It is a lot of lore to dig into. That's why it's like I try and take it into like little itty bitty bits and just kind of do my best to unpack certain things and as in tiny little chunks, the tiniest little chunks I can manage, make it accessible. And like I was saying earlier, I have tons of video ideas and I have a lot of new video ideas even just from talking to different armies online. So if there's ever anything that you really want me to focus on, please let me know. Because sometimes the videos that, you know, I go down a rabbit hole with something and I really want to make a certain video. But, you know, if you guys are like, we'd really like you to make this video, absolutely let me know. Bomac, yeah, I agree. I'm perpetually confused, but that's part of the fun. That's how I feel about the BU a lot of times, where I'm just like, I have no idea if anything that I'm saying is correct or if the way I'm interpreting this is at all the right way to interpret it, but I'm having a blast. Truth Untold, yeah, that's a really, really good one. And something that I love about anything that's kind of either BU related or kind of tangentially related to the BU, like Truth Untold, is that I think you can interpret them like you almost have to interpret them in two ways. And the one is, how does it fit into the BU storyline? And the other is, how does it actually reflect what the boys are feeling and going through? So it's like you almost have to look at it as part of the whole and as separate. And it's really, really interesting to do that. And that's kind of the way I approach the BU as well. It's something that you'll see when I'm talking about some of the, like when I do the Maknae video for the Welcome Back BTS series, I sort of talk about a lot of their songs like that as well, where it's like, hey, this is how this contributed to the overall theme of Wings or the overall theme of the Love Yourself series, but also here's how it was an expression of just whatever the guys were going through at the time, you know? So it's like, it's kind of interesting to do. You almost have to like analyze it twice in a way. Don't be the bears. Yeah, it's nice to be part of like where it's just like, I will let you interpret that and then we can talk about it together. It's a lot of fun. I like doing that. Metaloop, that makes me so sad that that is the reaction that you met with for that, because that's literally the same idea that I had as well when I saw those. Um, and like that's I think that makes so much sense, honestly. And it's just like, did you not listen to Map of the Soul 7? Awesome. Yeah, Hitchhiker Rabbit. I will definitely do that. I had somebody else. I had mentioned it in passing in one of my other live streams, and a couple other people were like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I love this idea. Please do that." And I would definitely love to have something like that. Just because, like I said, I think when you analyze BTS's work, you are also analyzing BTS themselves, and when you analyze BTS themselves, you're also analyzing ARMY, you know. And it's just like it's all kind of connected, and it's all part of the story, and so it's just like you can't analyze one without analyzing the others, in my opinion. Like, for instance, a video that I would really like to make at some point in the future is a video talking about like the meaning and the references and stuff in Boy With Love, because I feel like some people just think Boy With Love is just kind of like it, whatever, it's just like this upbeat poppy song, but there's so much going on in there, and there's so much in how they talk about ARMY in that song, and that song to me is so much a love letter to ARMY. So it's like, if you want to talk about that song, you also have to talk about the relationship between BTS and their fans. Like, you can't just do, like, you can't just say, oh, I'm just going to analyze the music video and not talk about the relationship between BTS and ARMY. When you do, they go together. So it's like, you cannot have one without the other. Also, Metaloop, just to circle back to your comment, I'm curious. Are you the person that I've been talking to on Twitter, or is it another ARMY that I'm talking to on Twitter? Because I had that exact conversation with somebody about like the anima elements of the music video, and I was like, you are spot on. This is how I think too. And so I was wondering if it was you or if it was just somebody else who thinks like both of us. Oh, thank you so much, Hitchhiker Hobbit. That means a lot to me. Yeah, that was really important to me to do in the Pied Piper video, because I just think it's, you know, there are certain songs that a lot of people just want to go very surface level on. Pied Piper is one of them. Dionysus is another. And I think a lot of people don't stop and realize how much there is underneath the surface, and how much it's a commentary on BTS and ARMY and what it means to be an ARMY. And it's like, I think it's important to analyze those things and to dig a little deeper. Yeah, me too. And it's, I just, you know, everybody kind of has their different preferences on what BTS music they like. And we were talking about that a little bit. It is you. I knew it. I'm so glad you're here, and I love having our chats on Twitter. So thank you for being here in person too. That's really awesome. But to your previous comment, um, I think that everybody has their own things that they like and don't like. And I've had conversations with people in previous live streams where it's like sometimes some people like the darker songs, some people like the lighter songs. And, you know, everybody has a thing that they're drawn to more. That's totally valid. But I also think you can't totally ignore the darker elements of, you know, or the heavier elements or the more complicated elements. I think it's, you miss something if you ignore that, you know. And it's just, that's something I've always appreciated about Namjoon's work. It's something I've appreciated about Yoongi's work, is they don't shy away from some of those quote unquote darker elements or heavier elements, you know. And this is something I've been thinking a lot about too, probably because I just had my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I'm now officially in my 30s. But it's, you know, I love that ARMY is a diverse, you know, cross section of ages. So you have ARMYs who are younger than me and ARMYs who are older than me. But it's very interesting as somebody who is the same age as BTS themselves to hear them talk about things that I'm also going through. And I think a lot of what they talk about, a lot of those emotions are universal. People feel them at any age and at any stage of life, and that's very meaningful. But when they're talking about something that I'm going through and I'm absolutely having the same thoughts and experiences, that's incredibly moving and incredibly powerful. And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with lighting, you know, the lighter stuff and liking the lighter stuff. But you do, I think, also miss something very meaningful when it's like, for those ARMY who are just like, I don't even want to think about the darker stuff, which I get. Life is dark, life is hard. But you know, the BTS, it analyzes and talks about stuff in a way that I think is very healing. And it's just like, I wish more people, both ARMY and non-ARMY, could know that. No worries at all, Metaloop. I always feel bad because I don't check my Twitter as often as I should because I'm so bad at social media. So I always feel bad like if you've tagged me in something that I haven't seen for a day or two, I'm like, oh no, and then I quick want to respond because I always love hearing your thoughts. You always have such interesting observations. Yes, you're so right, Javine. A lot of that is stuff that they also explore in their book, you know, and kind of get into discussions of like, hey, we made this song or this album and this is what we were feeling at the time, you know. And it's an integral part of how those things are made. And I don't feed the bears, to your point. I think that's something that's really special about our fandom, that again, that not enough people understand and realize, because we all are, you know, different ages, and some of us are the same age as the boys and some of us are younger and some of us are older than them. It's really interesting to have everybody's different perspectives, you know, because, you know, something that they're going through, if we were all the same age as BTS, we would all just be going through the same thing and we'd all just be going, oh yeah, I feel that. But when you have people who have other, you know, have experienced different stages of life, they can go, yeah, no, this is what that looks like on the other side, you know, or this emotion might become this emotion down the line. It actually reminds me of something that Namjoon said in a live broadcast years ago, where he was saying whenever he talks to like older folks, they, you know, he always kind of feels like, hey, maybe one day I'll be able to be like them because of all the experiences. I'll keep experiencing things and I'll keep being able to sort of prune my mind, you know, and eventually I'll have, because he used the metaphor of like, if your thoughts and feelings are branches, eventually they become a tree, and you can just prune them through experience and growth, and eventually you'll be the tree that you want to be, you know. And so I think just like Namjoon was talking about being able to talk to people with more experience than him, I like as an ARMY being able to talk to ARMYs with more experience than I have. You know, it's very, very warm and very comforting to be able to talk to people who have also been through these things but have come out the other side. Sorry about that. That was a water bottle deciding to be obnoxiously loud. I apologize for that crackling noise. So anybody who came in a little bit later might not have seen this. I am working on some videos right now. I've been a bit slow just because for the past like month or so, I've had like a lot of plans. Like all of my plans for the summer were in like a 2-3 week time span. So I've been a little bit spread all over the place. And then I had a pretty hectic work week because just I work with a fairly small staff. So like if somebody's sick or somebody's on vacation, the rest of us kind of pick up the slack. And we've had a couple of people out for health issues and things like that. So it's been pretty busy at my job. But I really, really, really want to get some videos out for you guys because I have so many things I'm really excited to talk about. So I'm working on those. I would like to do another casual live stream at some point, within the next few weeks. I'll keep you guys posted on that. And then I really want to do a live stream for the anniversary of Wings in October. So again, I'll keep you updated with that. So I definitely have a lot of things that I want to work on and discuss and think about with all of you. Was there anything else that you guys were thinking about today that you wanted to discuss or like that you want me to talk about in future? Please let me know. Right? I agree, Hitchhiker Hobbit. It's very rude when work gets in the way of BTS things. Yeah, I don't know if it's like this is the end of summer craziness or what, but it's definitely felt like time has been rushing by and it's been crazy busy and just whew, I need a breather. Yeah, I hope so. I think we'll have some fun. I think we'll have a lot of fun things to discuss over the next few months. Um, like I was saying earlier in the stream, I tend to get a little bit busy because I work in retail as we get into November, December, because it's like the holiday rush. So you might not see as much of me in those months, but I do definitely hope that I have some new videos up for you guys, and maybe I'll be able to do a live stream or two around that time, and then definitely have a lot of stuff that I want to work on as we get into the new year. So definitely a lot of plans for me, and I just have to actually work on them. I have to find the time to actually work on them, but and I definitely, like I was saying earlier, I know Monday's a bit of a weird day to stream, but I definitely wanted to come and say hi to you guys. It's been a couple weeks, and I wanted to hear about everybody's like concert experiences and theories and stuff. So what are my theories about things that are going on at the moment? There's a lot of stuff right now that I do think is a little bit confusing. So I've kind of just been like taking the opinion of just like I'm just gonna keep my eyes peeled and see what's what, because you know like I think you had even said it in my YouTube comment section where on this post where you had said it's just we never know what's a hint right now. It's just like there's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm still kind of formulating. I think that the idea about time, like time is a theme, past, present, future is a theme. I think all of these make a lot of sense, not just for where they are personally, but for where their music has kind of already been going, and where their themes of BTS have already been going. So I definitely feel like time is an element and a theme. We had mentioned Greek mythology could be a big theme. I think a lot of these things and you guys know me, I'm a Map of the Soul girl. I would love to see more of like Map of the Soul type imagery and themes, and it's not ever going to be like exactly the same. They're not going to make like the same album, of course, but I think they came up with a lot of very interesting themes and things for Map of the Soul, and I'd love to see those explored a little bit more as we get whatever the new album is. And I think it would really fit for their first album post military service, and so I'm definitely hungry for that. I'm hungry for like a deep concept that we can sink our teeth into. So that's my hope. I think the theories, like the content that we're getting and like the hints that we're getting, just the way that they've been talking and acting, I think does kind of maybe point to that, but that could just be wishful thinking on my part. So Oh no, Hitchhiker Hobbit. That is so unfortunate that your boss is off the whole week of the movie weeks. Oh man, I feel your pain there. As and Javine speaking as a fellow procrastinator, I can totally understand. T style, keep my eyes peeled. Suddenly, I'm imagining Jin as the banana in House of Army. Bomac, yeah, you may be right. Sometimes, like, they know that we like to theorize, and sometimes I think they're like, here's an activity, theorize about this. They like to keep us guessing, which is fun. It's part of the experience of, there have been a couple of times where we've all clowned out about something and we're like, oh, we are so wrong. We were so barking up the wrong tree, but it's fun. It's what makes it entertaining. That's the thing too. I actually wasn't even sure up until the that previous OT7 live where they sort of said, "Oh yeah, we're going to be working on an album," and that was kind of one of the first times that I was actually like, okay, it's an album, because I was actually even thinking that maybe it would be just like a song, or something like that would be their first comeback. And so there's a lot of questions of, and I mean, are we going to get something before the album? Quite possibly. So there's a lot of different things that could be going on. Yeah, that's a good question, Metaloop, because stars and planets and space are such a big theme for them in a lot of things. So it's just like, is it the normal amount of references, or is it more references? And that's very difficult. I think they do. I think they've always done the space and universe theme so well. And I would honestly love to see more of it, just because it fits them so well. It's perfect for them. So yeah, and it's funny, we were talking earlier about Hybe Boy, and I watched Hybe Boy's breakdown of Namjoon's letter, and it's so funny. As he was describing stuff, I'm thinking this reminds me of Liminal Space, because I just did my Liminal Space video a few months ago, and he even said that a lot of what Namjoon was saying feels like being on the threshold, and that's literally what liminality is. And I was like, this is literally what I was talking about in the Liminal Space video. So it's kind of funny that theme, I think, right now is really, really relevant to what they're discussing and going through. And I don't think they would, kind of like you said, that's a theme that they use. So I don't think they would necessarily dive into it more than they usually do, but it's like that theme and that thought process seems to really fit where they're at right now mentally. So yes, I was thinking the same thing, Javine, when he said, "Oh, there'll be something in August. Just wait." And I'm like, "Ooh, was that when it was announced that he was going to be throwing out the first pitch at the Dodgers game?" I'm like, "Is that what he was referring to, or is he referring to something else?" I don't know. We only have a few more days of August left, so I guess we'll find out. T-Style, that would be amazing. I have back when they did the Gaio Daejeon Festival in 2019, and they did like their covers of the Christmas songs. I have all of those, and I have like their Christmas remixes of like when they did the Christmas remix of Dynamite, when Jin did the Christmas remix of Running Wild, and like their more holiday versions of songs that they did in 2020 back when they made Yoongi a Snowman. I have all of those saved to a little playlist, and I play it every Christmas. It's like I switch throughout the rest of the year. I'm listening to BTS, and then during December I'm listening to BTS but make it Christmas, and it's like I need more of that. Yeah, we definitely did get a lot of stuff this month, from live broadcasts to, little updates, and we've definitely had a lot of stuff. And then of course with Jin's concert wrapping up at the beginning of the month, it's like we have definitely had so much stuff going on. Yeah, it's and I a lot of times when I dive into topics like that, of just, I feel so unqualified because, liminal space, going back to liminality, and liminality is like, even just, just go on the Wikipedia page for that and you're like, wow, there is so much stuff. It's so much with cultural anthropology and psychology and like all of this stuff that I am not qualified to talk about, so trying to condense it down with my limited knowledge of the topics into like a 25-minute video is such a challenge sometimes, but I really, really do find it fascinating. Because it just, with an aesthetic like liminal space, it's one of those things where at least for me, I always look at, liminal type pictures and I think to myself, why does this make my brain itch? Like, what about this just is like intriguing but also scary? Like, what is drawing me to this? And so diving deeper into liminality is really interesting for me because it gives me context for that, and like, doing the research and realizing that like there are some people who always feel that sense of transition and will always kind of feel in a state of flux. And I consider myself one of those people. It's like, oh, suddenly it makes more sense why I'm drawn to liminal space, and why I've always kind of been drawn to like things that are in between and on the threshold. And it's just, and then why I'm drawn to BTS's work and why so much of BTS's work speaks to me and why I think certain visuals in their music videos are beautiful. So it's like, it's so fun to go down those analytical rabbit holes. And a lot of times I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, but it's so interesting to just kind of start thinking about those topics because they really do then transform the way I think about certain videos and songs and topics. It's very exciting. I very much still want to get back to my other theme video that I was working on at the same time as the liminal space one, which is like the post-apocalyptic and dystopian imagery that they use, which I know sounds really, really dark, but I think it's very interesting how they use those archetypes, and in some cases how they subvert those archetypes. It's like, oh, I really want to talk about that. Too many video ideas in too little time. I agree, don't feed the bears. Learning is everything. It's so fun to just absorb that knowledge, and when you can do it in such a fun way, like through talking about BTS, it just makes it even greater. Bomac, I like that description. You are as young as the group you stand. And a lot of young at heart feeling. Which again, I think is part of why that beach live made me so happy, because it had such a fun energy. It's just like such a fun, youthful energy. That's also probably why it reminded a lot of us of Most Beautiful Moment in Life. It really did feel like it was going back to that crazy, youthful energy that is basically what HRYH is all about. So really special in that way. So I'm going to start wrapping things up. This has been amazing as always. I had so much fun. If there's anything else that you guys were thinking about that you wanted to ask me or let me know, ideas, anything like that, please don't hesitate to let me know before we sign off here for the day. Um, like I said, I will let you guys know when I'm planning the next live stream for. I just have to see what my work schedule is looking like. So hopefully, and as always, I'll just put that like in the community section of my channel, letting you guys know when that is. Hopefully I can get back to a Sunday schedule. I know the past two live streams I've done have been kind of on an unusual day, but thank you guys so much for being here, even though it was a Monday. I appreciate you all. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I hope to be talking to you again soon. And of course, as always, this will also go up on the channel so you can watch it back, see anything you missed, and you can always put any questions and comments and stuff in the comment section of that as well. Yes, Hitchhiker Hobbit, I'm so glad you could be here too, and I hope you can catch up on anything that you missed. Right? Metaloop, I really want to get into that topic. I just think that would be really interesting. I really want to dive into that. So that's definitely on my list. My current focus is going to be those videos for Namjoon, Yoongi, and the Maknae. So I definitely want to focus on those first, but I have so many ideas. I also want to do a video about Whalian 52 at some point. You guys know I love Whalian. I'd really love to unpack some of my thoughts and feelings about that. So it's just like my list keeps growing, let me tell you. I'm so glad you enjoyed Don't Feed the Bears. It's always so fun. Discord, I will definitely, like I said, I had that on my list. I'm going to put it back on my list. I'm going to give some thought about how we do that. I might ask you guys what you're thinking about for that, what you'd like to see on that server. So I might pick your guys' brains on that, and maybe some of us can even connect on Discord. I'll let you know. So let me think on that a bit, but I love the idea. So Bomac, that would be so much fun. Jin repeatedly saying hello in that live stream is so funny to me, and I think it would be hilarious if that turned out to be like a spoiler or something. It would be so great. Thank you so much for being here, T-Style. It was great to see you. I hope to see you again at the next one. I thank you all for being here as always. I always have so much fun. I'm always so excited to see like familiar names and stuff in the chat and get to meet new friends when I'm here, but I'm so glad you guys are here. It's awesome. And I hope you guys, for those of you who it was evening, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. And if it's earlier in the day for you like me, I hope the rest of your day goes well. Oh, Enthusebeast, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad that my live about Jin's concert was helpful. That makes me so glad. So thank you all so much for sharing your concert experiences as well. I was really excited to hear what you were thinking about Jin's concert and how you were feeling at Jin's concert. So I'm so happy you guys had a great time. Thank you for sharing that with me and with all of us here in the chat. Really awesome. Oh, Sweet Life, I'm so sorry. I'm getting ready to wrap up, but thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us a bit. And definitely check out the live on the channel. Because it'll go up and you can see anything you might have missed. This is a really great community. We all get along so well here, and we have such amazing conversations. So I hope you'll come for my next one as well. Thank you all so much. Yeah, the last couple of weeks have been hectic for me too, Bomac. So this was a nice way to kind of get back into everything and kind of catch up with you guys and catch up with some of the stuff that's been going on in BTS land. But thank you all so much for being here and for being such a wonderful group. I had so much fun with you all today. So I hope to see you all again really soon. Keep your eyes on the community section of my channel, and I'll keep you guys updated with what my next live will be. So I'll see you again very soon. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.